Thank you, Jared. Everybody get a chance to listen to Barry talk?
Yeah.
We're gonna have a job fair later. A few things I wanted to address with everybody. We always talk about how September is Realtor Safety Month. It should be Safety Recognition Month. Every month, every day is Realtor Safety Day and month. Okay? It bothers me that some people will take the class because they'll get a credit. Not today, you're not getting it for this. But we have to be safety conscious in our lives. For us as realtors, for us as family members, and for everything we do. Unfortunately, the world is what it is, and doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. So we need to be thinking ahead in everything that we do. The first thing I want to talk about before we get to the actual safety portion is we this year kicked off a Safe Home, Safe Cell program at the end of February, which we did with the couple of other sponsors with us with the Partnership for Drug-Free New Jersey. And the reason that we did it is because we all know opioids is an issue. And as it's become harder for doctors to necessarily give prescriptions for it, the drug addicts still have a need for it. So there's drug addicts, and I used to be a police officer, for those of you who don't know. Drug addicts will do whatever they need to get what they need. And so what we found in the last year is there was an opioid addict who started targeting open houses. So he would go get the Sunday paper, circle it, or go online, and when he was arrested, he had the open house ads in his pocket. So he was actually putting, knowing enough about the house so that when he went in to see it, it would be a believable person that you thought wanted to look at the house, would look at the house and then ask to use the bathroom. And then in the bathroom, he had the door closed and had time to rifle through the medicine cabinet. That's a problem. So we decided to start this program with the partners that we have. And I can tell you we've had a good impact. I've gone around, I've given a couple different talks about this. We've done things with the DEA to do this, and we'll be doing some more of these. We have one scheduled October 21st in Long Branch. So we're doing them as requested and working with the different drug abuse groups to try to get this off the ground and get this done. Right now, our focus is realtors. When you go out and you're going to work with a seller, we all have the safety and security conscious talk with them about not leaving valuable things out, putting things away. If you're anywhere from down the shore like I am, where we have 96 adult communities, that's like a candy cabinet for drug addicts. So when you're sitting with your listing resellers and having the talk with them, you need to discuss securing their medicine, okay? Because it's not necessarily just an opioid that they're after. And I think the statistics were 75% of the people who become addicted to drugs. I'm stuck to the floor. Thanks, Jen. 75% of the people that get addicted from family medicine cabinets. So that's where that starts. So even though we're talking this with sellers, keep this in mind at your own house. You might have kids, you might have parties, you might have friends of friends that come over. You need to secure these things. Things disappear, and to out of sight, out of mind. If it's not there, it won't happen. With sellers, and you're dealing with seniors, and I am one, so I can say that now. You have to have the conversation with them, because a lot of them, they're not as necessarily in the medicine cabinet. They're in the glass-covered kitchen cabinet. They're on the dressers, the nightstands. About every 3 feet, you'll find a pill bottle. You need to have them secure. And you as a buyer's agent, when you're getting ready to take people to a house, and this is personal preference for us, if we're meeting people, because not everybody's from the area that's coming down, we'll usually try to meet them, even if we've met them before or met them at the office, and we're meeting them a subsequent time, we'll usually meet them at a place that has restrooms, and we'll tell them, why don't you use the restroom before we go, because we don't like using restrooms in people's houses. It's a safety thing, okay? And so we have that conversation. But by the same token, when you're in the house, it's a very important thing. When you're showing a house, you don't let the buyers split and go off in different directions, because stuff disappears. I'm not just talking about medicines, but other stuff will disappear too. So it's common sense practices that'll help keep you safe. So if you do that, it's one less thing. It's one more thing in your personal protection drawer. Because if the medicines aren't there, somebody comes in and uses the bathroom and there's nothing in the medicine cabinet, chances are they're going to scoot right out the door. So, okay, so we'll talk about that. Along the same lines, on October 6th, we're going to have a thing that the state endorsed and is being partnered with the Partnership for Drug Free New Jersey called Knockout Opioid Abuse Day. Okay, you'll see in your packages you'll have a you'll have one of, where are they? You'll have this. Well, you don't have this. This is available. You can get this here when you leave. These are door things. If you're going to be out and about, we ask on October 6th that you maybe put some of these up on things to remind people about how important it is that they protect themselves. And Teresa, where's the other one? Here it is. There's one of these in your to-go packet. When you leave, there's to-go packets here. So you'll see those in there. So please look at them, use them as much as you can. It's part of your value as a realtor to make sure you help keep your people safe. And last but not least, keychains.
Oh, nice.
This is a nice thing. If you pull out, an extra thing to have if you want to use it. So that's that part. So now let's talk safety for a couple minutes. Safety is something that we have to do every day. We have to go out, and we go to stores, we go everywhere. We need to be smart in what we do. How many people here do open houses? How many people here do open houses alone? Okay. Bad idea. All right? There was an attack, I think, in the last week and a half that popped up everywhere of a realtor that got attacked at an open house. There is nothing, no commission worth your life. Do we agree with that? All right? So we need to take precautions. And I realize we all want to make the dollar, but if you're not alive to spend it, it didn't help you any. For those of you who got a chance to attend the presentation at the Women's Council here a couple weeks ago by Beverly Carter's son, he relived that for us, and that was something I wish everybody had the time. I wish we were able to video record it. It was a very impassioned thing where in her particular case, she was set up by two people, a couple. And it wasn't something that they set up on one day and said, hey, can you meet me at a house? It was something that took months to set up. Okay, they contacted her. They did the whole email exchange thing, what we're looking for, we're gonna send them listings, we're gonna do this, and did all this stuff. And as it turned out, when they were all done, and the original intent was just to kidnap her because they figured she looks like a rich realtor. Okay, because we all have those glamour shots and all these other things from pictures from us when we were like 20. So what happens is on some of these things, they were casing her. They Googled her, they found out she was successful. We should be doing the same things before we meet with clients. Google your clients, look up what they're saying. It's almost a shame that we have to be so suspicious. We're talking about being able to go home at the end of the day, okay? Be able to go home and argue with your husband, be nice to your husband, and be able to have that conversation with your kids, or in most of our cases now, grandkids. But we can't do that if we let our guard down even for a second, all right? We're all in a rush to do things. Not everybody wants to meet somebody at their office to talk about things. You have to have a personal policy. Some companies have a safety policy in their offices. I know that a few years back, I had a meeting in Ocean County with a lot of brokers about safety policies. And while everybody agreed there's a need for something, there was a lot of discussion about whether or not they wanted to put something in writing, because New Jersey being the land of lawsuits, people were concerned that if they did everything in that and then somebody got hurt, that they would get sued. So we talked about best practices, policies, and things to do. But the reality of it all is the safety is going to come down to your individual actions and what you plan to do. There's a lot of safety items. There's somebody out here, a vendor that has safety items. There's a lot of different things that are out there. A very simple tool that doesn't involve an app is if you have a phone and you're going to go show a house. And again, I'm skimming through this. Usually I have a whole thing set up for an hour, so I've only got a few minutes. If you're going to have to show houses by yourself and you have a husband, spouse, friend, whatever who your buddy is going to be, you call them when you get there. And then you simply push the home button. So the call is hidden, but it's on. And put it in your pocket or hold on to whatever it is. They should be able to listen to your conversation with what's going on without talking. And then this way they can hear if there's trouble. So if you don't have a safety app or some other thing, this is just a simple way. And we all have unlimited minutes, right? So we don't have to worry about that. And make sure your phone's charged. The dead battery doesn't help you either. So these are all different little things you need to do. Who does open houses for other agents? Okay. And how many of you that had your hands up go preview the house before you do the open house? Okay. If you don't know the house, you need to know where you're going, what you're doing. You need to know avenues of escape should you need them, both in the house and in the street. How you park is important. You know, you see on cop shows, and having been one, I can tell you, you always see cops backing into spaces. The reason we usually do is not just to exchange coffee, it's so that we can get out the door if we need to get out quickly without having to worry about backing up. So all these little things, not putting yourself in a position where your car cannot be blocked in. If you're going to go do an open house and you're going to be by yourself, which again, I highly recommend that you don't, go there a day or two ahead of time. Talk to the neighbors, let the neighbors know that you're there. Don't say, look, I'm going to be here. If you know of anybody stop by, please keep an ear for me, you know, blah, 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 blah. We do our sales shtick with everybody, so we should be able to do that pretty easy. Go into the house, walk around the house yourself, go out in the backyard. If the backyard is fenced, is it locked from the inside or the outside? So if you somehow wound up having to get out the door, if you run out the back door, you can be able to keep going. Excuse me. So these are all important things. Don't follow people into a basement. If you want to go down a step or two, don't lead them into rooms. Let them go ahead. You can talk behind them while they're talking. And the most important thing I can tell you is, we've all heard the phrase, the hair stands up on your back of your neck because something's wrong. If it does, listen to it. And I don't care if you walk out in the middle of a showing and you think something's wrong, get out in the street and call for help. If you lose a buyer, you lose a buyer, but at least you're still safe to worry about it. So, and that's a big problem with people. Everybody's so into, I got to get this deal. There have been instances, I can tell you, many moons ago where on Sundays, we worked, at the time my wife and I worked for Weicker Realtors, and my wife was working floor time, and I was doing what husbands do on Sundays. I was playing softball and soccer, and she called me that somebody had wanted to meet her at a vacant house. And so I said, okay, I'll go over with you. So we were in two cars. The house was set back off the road. I drove past the house, not deliberately, I just wasn't paying attention. And she turned in the driveway, but when I went past and realized it, I looked up and I saw a guy standing outside of his car. And so what happened was I made a U-turn and came back. It took me a minute or two. And Sharon was outside talking to the man. When I pulled up in the driveway, the guy clearly had a change and was completely disturbed that I had pulled up there. So I had basically asked him who he was and, you know, what the interest he had in the house. And he said, I don't have to tell you anything. And me being quiet and shy said to him, well, then you can't see this house. And he got very upset. And then eventually we had a few more exchange of words, and then he left. And of course, me being me, I wrote down his license plate number. And so he left, and we put out a thing to everybody we knew to be aware in case this person calls you or looks up. I called the police department that I worked for and found out who the license plate belonged to, and it was from somebody that had a North Jersey address. Well, to make a long story short, a few weeks later, he did actually get arrested. What he was actually doing is he had a bad experience at Weicker Realtors in North Jersey somewhere, moved to the shore and decided to terrorize women realtors. So what he would do is he would do what he was trying to do with my wife, but he was also showing up at open houses. And what he would do is he would usually wait till a group of people walked in and walk in behind him, and then he would walk away from them and go like upstairs and wait in the closet and hope everybody left and just terrorize people. Okay? So you don't know where people are coming from. Jeffrey, I'm going to shoot you. Still stuck.